Hi, welcome to Mend. I'm Julie. Today on Mend, we have Tanner, and Tanner's brother, Kenny, took his life 11 years ago. And since then, he and his mother have been putting together a nonprofit, A Safe Place Inside Your Head. And he's going to talk about his story and his brother's story.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I think whenever I was 9, it was my first enlightening experience into anything mental health related. The first time that I recognized mental health at all, I was actually diagnosed with child mania.
Really?
So basically it's like an early onset bipolar disorder, well, child mania and bipolar disorder. So essentially when I was 9, I had like this huge mental, I guess I can't call it an issue, but a huge mental thing that happened to me, where my parents were like really concerned. Nobody really knew how to deal with me. And the counselors that I had, they didn't really know. They were like, is school for him? They called me crazy. Like they were like, he's so crazy that he can't be here. He's like a danger to other kids. And I can see where they were coming from because there wasn't like a huge, knowledge base around child mania and like bipolar disorder in kids and not like there is now, but it was so new to my parents, and my dad and my mom didn't really know what to do with me. So I ended up going to a psychiatrist, and then I had to do anger management and stuff like that. And as a kid, you're in a class with adults, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. I was like, I'm not even angry, because I wouldn't see these outbursts as I didn't see them as everyone around me saw them, because how everyone around me saw them, they were like, this guy is aggressive and whatever. But me, I just saw them as me, being a 9-year-old throwing a temper tantrum or whatever. So that was kind of my first intro into mental health.
Can you tell me a little bit what manic looks like for you?
So I know that in situations where I'm becoming manic, when I start obsessing with the result. So when I start thinking all right, this is the result I want, I will literally stop at nothing to get this result. Or I need to talk to this person, I need to do this thing. Or I start pacing the room. If I have a full-blown manic episode, it can last a week. But the things that I do, I guess not anymore, because I've grown up and I've had a kid, and my manic tendencies switch from whenever I was a kid, I actually had, not a kid, but a teenager, I actually had to go to rehab because I had a pretty serious drug addiction. And before that, my drug addiction would be how my manic side would come out. I would go off and do a bunch of drugs and just not worry about anything else that was happening in life and just exist, But now that I've learned how to turn that into something positive, but they're few far in between now, because it's been something where you can kind of control it whenever you start learning exactly what makes you feel that way.
I think about that, and I think about your brother, and I just would love it if you could share with us when you started noticing signs in him, or did he have any signs of struggling with mental health, or what did that look like?
I have to take it back to whenever I was 12. He struggled a lot with the fact that his dad, he didn't have a good relationship with him and stuff like that. I remember specifically that's probably where it started for him, maybe even a younger age, but he never really talked about that. He just he would just kind of tell me about situations around that age group. But I remember the first time that because he almost died 9 times in his life before he completed suicide. The first thing that happened is whenever I was in middle school and he was in high school, he actually got hit by a fire truck that was going 70 miles an hour, and he got hit in the chest by the mirror, and it launched him 70 yards.
Goodness.
It launched him, his shoe stayed where he got hit, and it hit him so hard it launched him 150 feet. I think that's where his journey started, of him trying to kill himself, because I really think that was maybe his first attempt, and then...
Well, he had to have a concussion and things after that. And
he was in a coma for about 3 months. So he was in a coma, but he was still alive. I remember we used to go to the hospital a lot to go visit him, and my mom was there consistently, and my stepdad was there too.
That's so awful.
So he ended up having a bunch of surgeries. I think that was kind of the downfall of his existence, essentially, was that whole car wreck or that whole situation. And then slowly but surely, like he started, because he did develop like a drug problem from the fact that he had to take so many drugs to just not feel pain. So they gave him like all these really crazy addictive pills, and then he eventually got addicted. And then like he had to go to rehab as far as like to get his physical self back. But then after everything was done, he actually had to go to rehab for the pills because he had developed a problem. Like a lot of the things that he had to live with for the rest of his life, I don't think that he could correctly cope with having to live with that. Like imagine being a man and like wanting to get married and not being able to like do these things you wanted to do, like have kids and all this. Like it'd be a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And so he developed like a drug problem. He ended up like at the end of his life, he ended up being like, he went to AA, he was clean, like everything. And then like the day he completed suicide, he found out that his girlfriend had been cheating on him, that he like raised her kids. So it was like this whole situation. And essentially he, I guess, couldn't take it anymore. Like he didn't want to do it. Like that was the final straw.
It's a massive trigger for him. It was
Yeah,
the ultimate.
it was like the ultimate betrayal.
Did he go to therapy after the accident with the fire truck? Did he ever get diagnosed with PTSD or anything?
Yeah, I don't know what he got diagnosed with because we never really had those types of conversations. Because before he passed away, in my family, we talked about mental health, but we never dealt with it. I think those are kind of two separate situations. So he would talk about like how he was like scared to like get in a car again and like scared to be on the road, and like he would tell me things that he was scared of, but he never once ever said like, I'm so sad, I want to die. Because I remember like the first time that I had ever heard him say like, I'm sorry, but like I want to die, or I'm sorry, I'm going to die, is when he called me right before he completed suicide.
Yeah.
He called me and he was like, hey, I love you. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do, but I want to die. And then that was like, he hung up, and that was the last time I ever talked to him. This is crazy because like, I feel like I could have done more to save his life, but I can't think like that. No, you can't think like that when someone completes suicide. You have to understand that you did everything you can do. Because like I would hang out with them every day. My dad pulled up behind me, and my dad like was so aggressive trying to get out of his car that he ripped his seatbelt off without unbuckling it, and I could just hear him yelling, no, 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 like over and over and over again. And that's like the one thing that like sticks with me, hearing that in my head. Like when I used to have nightmares about that day, that's what I would hear.
I bet.
And it was just like, and then my dad has not ever been the same since. Like he's been just a former shell of himself and who he is.
I can't imagine what it's like to bear that responsibility after, Kenny called you, and then you had to go on and call other family members.
Yeah, I was the only one that answered his call. My brother missed his call because he was in the shower. My dad missed his call because I think he was outside. So I was the only one that answered his call out of everybody. I was the last one to talk to him.
It seems from what I hear that once they've made that decision, it's really hard to have any sort of influence over them.
Yeah, he like lied to a couple people about like stuff so he could get a gun because he was not like legally able. He was a felon. He was like not legally able to get a gun. So he lied to his best friend to say that he needed it because somebody was harassing him for protection, and his best friend gave him the gun. And then it was this whole thing, like whole situation. But essentially, I say this about this whole, like, to kind of like wrap up like how I feel about it, but he had to die to show me how to live. Like that day, I realized like I cannot lose anybody else like this. I cannot watch people die. I cannot let people feel this alone, because I imagine in my head like how alone someone would have to feel to sit in a room and to have that thought before you do the thing, like to think the whole world's against you. Like people say like, man, they took the easy way out, but no one really knows like how much like it takes to sit in a room and do things to yourself or to commit to that thought. Like nobody has to know how much pain someone's in for that to be the only way for them to get out.
And I just worry that there's such a large gap between, this one thing where we're sharing about this, and here's this other thing where people just take it so lightly. And the messaging for people who are going through that extreme pain is, we'll never know what it's like for them, ever.
We won't, and the one thing that I've learned throughout this entire situation is that there's no do-overs. There's no going back on that. There's no coming back from it. You may be stopping your pain, but you are essentially taking your pain and passing it along to everyone else. Mm-hmm. And everyone else has to deal with the fallout of your death. Mm-hmm. And my brother, I hate to use the word selfish, but he took away the ability for my daughter to be know him as an uncle, my mom to have a son, my dad to have a son, and my brother to have a brother. He took that away. We didn't get a choice in that. Mm-mm. And that was his decision, and that was selfish, because my daughter would have loved him. He didn't even give her the opportunity to know who he was. And that's the part that hurts the most, probably. So, but it sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Even though he may have died, our community has saved thousands of people. Mm. So, we have to kind of think of it. My family thinks of it in a way as we may have lost him, but we've gained so many other people. We've saved so many other people. Mm-hmm. We've saved so many other people's lives. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a positive in the sea of darkness, I guess.
Yeah, I know. And it's hard to say that when you've experienced something so tragic, but you have and are saving a lot of lives. And you and your mom have started a nonprofit in honor of Kenny, correct?
Yeah, he's the reason why. He's the reason why, because we did it on his birthday. Mm-hmm. And he's the reason why we continue to keep doing it. But it's grown into so much more than just his memorial. Now it's an avenue for people to get support every day, and it could turn into something where we get free mental health resources to people that are in need of it. Because if you even live here in Austin and you've driven down 6th Street, you can literally spot 25 to 30 people alone that would benefit from mental health care. And the reason why they may be homeless is because of the fact that nobody has given them a chance to get better.
Exactly. And so I just appreciate what you're doing, and your nonprofit is called
A Safe Place Inside Your Head. So one thing that we've committed to is that I feel like we've been knocking at the door for mental health long enough. We're no longer knocking. We're just going to kick it in. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to start talking about stuff that we need to do to help people. It's important that time is of the essence. I think I read a stat, every 21 seconds someone passes away of suicide.
Oh, I heard 40.
So,
but either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, either way, statistically, those are, and I think I've even heard as low as 12. Mm-hmm. But I think I know that for military veterans, I think it's 21. But that's besides the point. Anyone passing away because they feel like they're alone in this world is too much. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to continue to keep working to try to curb that.
Yeah, right. And that's what you're doing, and that's what we're trying to do here, is to let you know that you're not alone. So can you just explain to our listeners a little bit more about your nonprofit and where they can learn more about it, which is on Instagram? And do you talk about stuff like this, or can you just let them know a little bit more about what you're doing?
Yeah, so if you go to our Instagram, it's going to be at A Safe Place Inside Your Head. There's actually a link in the bio. That link will either take you to some of our other resources that we have, like our Discord. We also have a YouTube channel that we're currently building. It's not there yet. And then we also have a link to the Facebook group, which is quintessentially a private group that you can join. And if you're on Facebook, you can talk to people or post about a specific issue you may be having. and get resources from people in said group. And it's not anonymous, but it's a closed group, so not anyone can join. You have to be approved for it, and you have to follow certain rules or you get booted. So if you're a Facebook person, I suggest heading over there and checking it out.
That sounds good. I'm going to go over there and check it out.
You should.
I'm already on your Instagram page, and I'm pretty new to this whole social media world, and it's really great. I mean, you have great content and are definitely getting a message across. So
we're trying to push out as much free content as possible. That's the goal. Is like even if it doesn't help everybody, as long as it helps like one person, then we've essentially done our job. And we may not be helpful, but we'll at least make you not feel alone.
Right. Yeah. And that's just, I mean, I think that's the most important thing, really.
I would say some positive resources that I know of. There's a lot of telehealth. So telehealth is something that I try to push a lot of people towards, because you don't necessarily need insurance for it. It actually costs the same whether you have insurance or not. And it's actually like super affordable. There's different different companies out there that do it. Some work in some states and some work in others. There's a link in our bio of like companies that you can check out and that we are affiliates with. And essentially, if you use those companies, then they either give you, like if you use the company, some of them give you discount codes for going through our link. So you can actually save additional money if you do that. But I do say, if you are experiencing loneliness or sadness, like please reach out. Please let someone know. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Someone out there will care for you. Someone out there will love for you. And someone out there will give you a chance to like try to put yourself in a position to be happy. But it really just starts with reaching out. Yep. So I really appreciate the time.
Again, Tanner, where can people go to find out more information about you and what you have going on?
So I would say our main platform that we have right now is our Instagram. You can find us at A Safe Place Inside Your Head. Yes, I know it's long. I'm sorry. But you can also, it's a pretty cool page. Like there's really a lot of nice resources there. But if you go to the link in our bio, you can find a link to pretty much everything else we offer. We also have a Discord that's pretty active. We also have a Facebook group that's pretty active. So whatever your level of comfortability is with technology, we try to meet you in the middle on that. But yeah, that's where most of our resources are at. We also have all the, for every country in the world, we have all the suicide hotlines there.
Oh, that's
so
great.
If you ever need to find a way to share that with somebody from around the world, because you never know what friends we can make on the internet. You can go to the link in the bio and you can find out what country they live in, and you can find all the information that they need there.
I love that. Again, thank you for joining Mend, and we will see you next time.